This is the easiest n8n beginners tutorial you'll find on YouTube. I'll take you from n8n 0 to n8n Hero by building this simple AI agent from the scratch. What does this agent do? Now here's the example. I sent myself a test email saying this is a paid collaboration opportunity. So this is in my inbox. Now when I click on test workflow, the agent kicks into action. Now let me just refresh my inbox and there's a reply that agent has sent. It has completely sent an intelligent reply based on my instructions. So let's build this. If you are new here, my name is Karthik. I make practical AI tutorials for beginners. Before we jump into n8n, let's understand few basics. What is an automation? Well, it's a fancy way of saying if X happens, then do Y. In our case, if there's a new email, then reply to it accordingly. And when we use AI and tools, in this case Gmail tool, to achieve this, it is called an AI agent. As simple as that. Now, how do we build this? We use something called n8n. Just Google n8n Cloud and just click on n8n Cloud. From here, click on Start a free trial. There are other ways to do n8n. You can also install it locally and do unlimited automations, but there are several advantages of doing it in the cloud. Plus, you get a free 2-week trial, so you have nothing to lose. Just fill in all the details and just register and sign in. And once you sign in, it'll give you a big pop-up to create a workflow. If you somehow missed it, just click on the home button. Here you'll find the list of all your workflows. Just click on create workflow. This is the n8n interface. Let's understand the interface. So when you create a workflow, at the top left, you have the name of your workflow. You can double click to rename it. I'll call it simple email agent. You can give it any name. And just like that, we've renamed the workflow. You can also add tags like maybe email, OpenAI, maybe starting tag. So all these tags are really useful in organizing. Now when you click on the home button, you'll be taken back to all your workflows, and you can actually click on this filter button and filter by the tags. So let's say you just want workflows that you have filter email tags. Click on email and that will filter out the rest. You can click here and remove the filters. It'll go back to normal. Now when you want to go back to the workflow, just click on that once and that will take you to the workflow. So those are tags. And then at the top right, you have something called active or inactive button. When you click on it, this will run automation 24/7. We didn't build anything yet, but we'll get to that in a bit. Then you have options to share this automation. You can click and invite users. And here there's a button to save your automation and also a history button. The main thing you need is to click on this dots button, click on settings, and from here just click on time zone and search for your time zone, and make sure you always select this first. This is an important setting, cannot miss. So I'll select my time zone and click on save, and it will be saved for that particular workflow. And then you have a plus button at the top right, and you have an AI assistant. It's not really useful as of now. You can ask it some questions regarding n8n, but for now it's not really that useful. At the bottom left, you have options to zoom out or zoom in. You can click the square icon to fit all of the nodes into the view. This is just a way to just organize things on your screen. That's it. Then you have executions tab. We'll get to that in a bit. Now, n8n works on something called nodes. Nodes are the building blocks of n8n. There are 4 kinds of nodes. The first kinds of nodes are trigger nodes, which essentially trigger or start the automation workflow. Then you have data transformation or formatting nodes. Between each node, you send data, and sometimes you may have to manipulate them. We'll get to that in a bit. And then you have something called app nodes. Nodes for doing various things in apps like Gmail, Google Sheets, Notion, and all that stuff. Finally, you have cluster nodes. Basically, group of nodes that act together as one. We'll get to all of those nodes. Like I said, we need a trigger node to trigger or start an automation. So you can click on the first step. There are different ways to trigger an automation. You can click on trigger manually, and that will add the node. Now you can double click a node to access its settings. You can click on back to canvas, and that will bring you back to canvas. You can hover over the node and click on the power button to deactivate it. You can click on this play button that will actually execute the node. So it will perform whatever function it is. If it's a trigger node, it'll start triggering whatever it is. You can click on this trash icon to delete the node. You can click on this and click on rename to rename the node. I'm just gonna delete it. Now I'll just click on the plus button. As you click on the plus button, on the right hand side, it lists out all the different things that you can add. Right now, we want to check for a new email. So I'll search for Gmail. Since this is a Gmail account, I'll click on Gmail, and then you see this lightning bolt icon, meaning this is a trigger node. You can only add the first node as trigger nodes. So I'll click on new message received, and as soon as you add that, it opens up the settings for the node. You can actually click on back to canvas, and now it shows this red button, meaning this node is not configured and we need to configure it. So I'll double click this, click on Gmail account. You can click on create credential. Make sure OAuth 2 is selected. Click on sign in with Google and make sure you give access to n8n. That way n8n automations can control your inbox. Just click on continue, and within few seconds you should see this connection successful button and it is saved. Every time you authenticate an app like Gmail, Google Sheets, all of those authentications are automatically saved and you just have to do them once. You can actually click on save workflow, and if you click on the home button, you can also find them under credentials, right? You can see I have two Gmail authentications. Basically, I authenticated the same account twice. Click this and actually delete this just like that. Let's go back to our simple email agent. I'll double click this and make sure this is selected. Now our Gmail account is connected. You can check how often you want to check your inbox. I'll select every minute. You can also choose every hour, every day, or whatever. But for this tutorial, just leave every minute. Event, of course, when a new message is received. I'll uncheck this simplify so that we get to see more of this. And when you click on fetch test event, it automatically pulls in the data, meaning it is working. And right next to output, you see this green check mark. And when you hover over I icon, you'll see the start time and the execution time. And when you actually check the details, it's actually sending a lot of data that we don't really need. So we need to just filter out the fields that we need. And how does data get transmitted between n8n nodes? Well, it's in the form of JSON, which stands for JavaScript object notation. Basically in the form of key and value pairs like this. So all of them are basically key and value pairs, and there are different JSON fields. You don't have to understand that, but JSON is a standard way of sending data across apps and websites like Notion, Gmail, like different websites and all that. Anyway, I'll click on back to canvas. Now let's add our second node, which is a data transformation node. I'll click on this plus button and n8n pops up this sidebar from which you can select any of these nodes. Right now, we just want to transform our data or filter out the unnecessary data. There are again a lot of ways to do this. I'll show you the easiest way first. Then I'll show you a slightly easier way. AI transform node is relatively simple. We just say just output the following fields. You just type in plain English what you want, and this is a relatively new node. You say name of the sender, email address of the sender, subject of the email, and then you say content of the email. Just say that and you just click on generate node, and for every node other than the trigger node, you have an input and you have an output. So it generated some code, and when you click on test step, it'll basically show you the output that this node produces. So our AI transform node is essentially taking the input on the left, which is coming from the Gmail trigger node, and that data, it just filtered it out to just 4 fields, which is name, email, subject, and content. AI transform node may not work in some real life scenarios. When the email is really big, this AI transform node may have reached its limit because AI works based on context window, essentially the input size that you give to AI. So sometimes the emails may be really long and this AI transform node may just fail. So I'll just copy the instructions, and there's a better and smart way to do this. And how do you disconnect a node? Well, you can actually delete it. That's one way to remove the node. Or you can hover over the connection that you see this arrow. You can click on delete and the arrow is gone. Now you're free to move this node anywhere you want. and I'll just click on this power button to deactivate the node. You can click on the plus button to activate a new node, or you can actually click on this. Let's go back to data transformation node and let's choose code node. Now, don't worry about this. I'll click on back to canvas. How do you connect these two nodes? Hover over this node, click and drag until you connect this, and just like that, these two nodes are connected. You can click on the cleanup button at the bottom left and it will just put the nodes right next to each other. You can also double click a node and also rename this. So I'll say new email. I'll click on rename. So we rename the trigger node. Let's also rename this by clicking here and I'll say refine data. Now, how is the code node different from AI transform node? Like I said, AI transform node, it'll perform the same AI operation for every new email, and when the email is big, it may fail. People who are familiar with context window might understand. Basically, the larger the input, sometimes AI agents may not do this, and the AI transform in this is native to n8n cloud, and you won't get this node if you host it locally. That's another advantage of using n8n cloud. Okay, back in our refined data, you can choose run once for all items or run once for each item. Item is essentially a JavaScript data packet. In this case, we are just getting one email, so it's one item. If you get 10 emails, that's 10 items. So in Excel sheets, if there are 10 rows, each of the row corresponds to an item. Anyway, here it's asking us to code. Make sure you select JavaScript and you can actually click on Ask AI, and all these AI features within the nodes, AI nodes themselves, are basically native to n8n cloud, and you won't find them on n8n if you host it locally. That's another advantage. Anyway, the code that we're looking for is just output the following fields or just filter the following fields. I'll say just filter out the following fields, and it's not working. Since there's only one item, you can choose run once for all items because one item is all item in this case. And once you just copy and paste the same thing, just click on generate code and click on generate and replace code. So AI will automatically put in the code that will extract the fields and you don't have to understand any of it. Now, how is this different from AI transform? Well, in AI transform, AI is performing the AI operation for every new email. But in this case, AI is writing the base code, which will essentially extract the fields. So it's not using AI every time. So there won't be any problem with context window or stuff like that. Let's actually click on test step. Make sure this is working. It did pull in all the emails. Let's try that again. Let's give it better context by saying from previous node, and let's click on generate node, generate and replace. As you can see in output, it just gave us two fields, but we're actually looking for four fields. Let's see if it works now. So after a few tries, it's actually giving that, and this is the instruction: extract the following fields from Gmail node: name of the sender, email address of the sender, subject, content of the email. And now it has written complete code to extract all the fields. You don't have to understand this. Click on test step. Make sure we're just getting four fields, and just like that, we're getting sender's name, sender email, sender subject, and the content of the email itself. We finally went from all these data that we don't really need. We just need these four details, and let's move on and let's add a new node. You can also use another node or another data transformation node called edit fields, but that's an old way of doing it. Let's move on to the next step. So the next kind of node we are going to add in this case is a cluster node, basically group of nodes working together. So I'll just click here. I'll click on advanced AI, and the thing that we're looking for is AI agent. Now you don't always have to go within all the nodes. You can simply type what you want. Since I want AI agent, I'll just click on that. Again, it'll have an input, an output, and few options to configure it. We'll configure that in a bit. I'll click on chat model. I'll scroll down. I'll pick OpenAI chat model. Again, we need to configure this. We can give it memory. Can click on simple memory. So what do you want this agent to remember? I just wanted to remember the content of the email. I'll click and drag it. I'll go back. So our email AI agent has a chat model, has memory, And let's add a tool that will achieve this. The tool that we're looking for is a Gmail tool. I'll click on Gmail. Let's authenticate it. We'll ask it to set automatically. Message. We want to message, right? We want to send the message. And for to and subject and message itself, you can click the sparkle or the AI icon, and this will automatically be filled by the model. You can select text or email, it doesn't matter, and we'll configure it in a bit. Since we authenticated Gmail, you can simply pick the account that you've authenticated with. Gmail node is set. Now from here, we need to change this from a connected chat trigger node, because we're not triggering this AI agent with a chat. Instead, we'll define it. Prompt is basically you'll tell this AI agent what to do. So I'll say reply to the following email details below. I'll hold on shift and hit enter. I'll say sender's name. I'll click and drag it. So from the JSON field, you can actually click and drag it just like that. You can actually click this to maximize this email address. So essentially we are telling our email agent all the details. We're basically passing all these details from the previous node. So we don't need the trigger node. I can minimize the trigger node, and the email address is sender email. I'll click and drag it, and the value will automatically be populated dynamically. You can see that on the right what the AI agent is actually getting when we are using the key of the value, right? So this is key and this is value, and you can see the value on the right for this key. So this will be dynamically populated every time. We send sender's name, sender's email, give it subject, and I'll click and drag the subject in here. Content of the email. I'll click and drag this. Okay, this is a base level configuration. So this is the base prompt, or basically this is the task that our AI agent has to fulfill. I'll click on add option. I'll click on system message. You are a helpful. Let's change this a bit. Email assistant. I'll say your tasks are below. We'll get to that in a bit. But before that, let's actually configure the OpenAI chat model. Also, let's rename the agent. I'll double click this. I'll click here. I'll say email agent. Rename. Let's double click this. And now we need to add chat GPT credentials. You can authenticate it with your OpenAI account by providing it an API key. If you're just getting started, there'll be an option to pick n8n OpenAI credits. Just make sure you pick that, and from the model will automatically be picked. So you don't have to even authenticate or add some balance to OpenAI. For now, just pick n8n free OpenAI credits. That'll do the job. So that's how you configure the OpenAI chat model. Cool. Now, once you have the chat model configured, also this whole thing is configured, the main thing is to just give it few instructions based on how we want it to react. So I'll say if the emails are automated alerts, promotions, newsletters, computer generated emails, then don't reply. I'll hit enter. I'll add another bullet point, or I'll use this hyphen. If the email is about a possible sponsorship, something like that. So basically we are just adding different instructions for different kinds of content that we may have. If the email is a general query, reply in the most human way possible. Just think of all the possible scenarios you want your AI agent to add all of that. I think this should do the job. Let's go back. I'll click on the trash icon to remove the previous data that we received. So this is the email right now I have. Let's make sure that this is the only email, and this is the email that will be fetched. So that is the only email I have. So let's click on test workflow. Let's see how our agent performs. So it's starting. So there's an error in simple memory. I'll click here. So here we have to choose define below, and the key is the content. That's it. And context window length, maybe, I think hopefully that allows us. Let's do that again. Let's see if that works. So I cannot use OpenAI credits or free credits because I've already exhausted them. So I'm gonna check OpenAI account. Getting these errors is a part of learning n8n, so don't panic. Just make sure you configure whichever node is causing the error. In this case, I just need to pick my OpenAI account. I've actually added $10 credits to that. You don't have to do this since you're getting started. You'll get free n8n credits. Use them. I'll remove that. Let's try that again. And boom. Now the everything, every node seems green, meaning the workflow is successfully executed. You can also click on this executions, and that will show you all the successful and also unsuccessful executions. Anyway, let's check our inbox. Boom. And the agent has automatically replied to it. You can see that here. Awesome. But the agent also sent this thing with saying it's automatically generated by n8n. So let's fix that. I'll click on Gmail and let's click on add options. Instead of Gmail, I'll just rename it to send email, because that's what this node is doing. So it will be clear for us, right? So this is send email node. I'll double click this. So everything else is working just fine. We just need to click on add options, click on append n8n attribution, and just uncheck this because we don't need n8n attribution. You can also say sender name. Here you can say the sender should be Karthik from YouTube or Karthik from whatever your company. I'll click on back to canvas, click on save. Now I'll delete this message again and I'll delete this workflow data. When you click on the trash icon next to test workflow, it's actually deleting the data but not the whole automation. Let's rerun the automation and it's good. Now let's check the reply. Boom. And you see the header now? It's Karthik from YouTube. Awesome, right? So that's how you build a simple AI agent. Now, it's replying perfectly for sponsorships. I'm going to send myself another email for a while. I'll say, hope you're doing great, doing well, and I'm worried about you. Just to test the intelligence of the agent, I'm going to say like that. Say, talk soon, Mike, something like that. And I'll send it off. Now let's run the agent and let's see how it works. Now once you're confident enough, just click on this and that will activate this agent and it will automatically run after every minute because that's the trigger we set. But for now, I'll just uncheck this. Since this is a demo, I'll do it manually by clicking on test workflow. So we have the email. So it's performing its thing and the workflow is successfully executed. Let me refresh my inbox. Boom. It sent the email and you can see it actually replied like a actual human. Thanks for reaching out. I'm doing well, just busy with some projects. How are you? Cool, right? You can add additional instructions to your email agent by double clicking this right next to system message. Just say hyphen or dash, however you call it. Sign off with talk soon, Karthik message. So this is the way I want each of my email to work. So I'll save this. I'll actually delete this reply. I'll also click on the trash icon to remove all the previous data. Click on execute workflow. Let's see how it goes. You can see the AI agent knows that it needs to use email tools, and the AI agent, even if we add like 1,000 tools, it'll know which tool to pick because these AI models are really advanced. You can just use n8n free OpenAI credits. I think they'll last for maybe 30 40 automations. Now I'll refresh this and it sent a reply to my email. You can see I asked it to end by saying talk soon, Karthik, just by specifying that here, and boom, the agent does that. That is just mind blowing. And this is just the beginning, and we're going to build more and more complex AI agents from here on. Make sure you subscribe to AI with Karthik, and here are n8n tutorial playlist. Make sure you stay tuned to the channel and subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.